Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. What are we going to do about Papoose and Claressa? Because I think initially a lot of people saw them as possibly making some power moves, which was going to be a good thing. But then more as time went on, more and more people started to see them as making money moves. Had a little bit of Cardi B in them. But right now, the public moves have turned to public backfire. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Papoose went on Vlad, and I just think he shouldn't have done that. Now, the relationship between Papoose and Claressa Shields, and Papoose is involved in boxing. He's helping to promote Claressa's fights. He's a boxing promoter. This has become one of the most talked about storylines in boxing. Now, I do think that Papoose felt he could bring the little hip-hop hustle to boxing. But what he's realizing is the hip-hop fans and boxing fans, there's a bit of crossover there, but the boxing fans have a different lens. They can recognize the hustle that's going on. Now, from the business involvement to the Laila Ali fight push, fans are questioning everything. What are the true intentions, or what were the true intentions for Papoose towards Claressa Shields? What has his influence been as far as Claressa Shields' behavior? And what's going to be the long-term impact? Because he went on Vlad, boxing promoter Papoose did, and he was talking about the marriage. He was talking about the child. He said he didn't get her a ring, but it sounds like all of that is supposed to be coming. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Fans are questioning everything. They're looking at him. They're talking about who have houses, who don't have houses, who eat food with eating utensils, who don't eat food with eating utensils, who owes taxes, who doesn't owe taxes, who's wearing what, shopping where, who has furniture in their house, who doesn't, who's still married, who's not married, who owns a car, who has a driver's license, who doesn't have a driver's license, who may have a child outside children. People are out here watching everything, speculating on everything, questioning everything. But you know what? That's what happens when you have public backfire, because the way you're moving looks like the ultimate hustle. Now, we need to try to understand the shift in public perception, because the way Claressa was viewed, all that's changed now. The way Papoose was viewed, that shit's totally out the window now. But hey, they did it to themselves. You also got to try to understand the role of promotion and the way they've gone about trying to build Claressa Shields' profile and how it's resulted in so much controversy. You got to try to understand how fans went from supporting him as a hip-hop artist, supporting and promoting her as an outstanding boxer, to now both of them suffering from a lot of backlash, and how their brands have both been damaged. At least that's my perception. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think their brands can be repaired, because of all of the crap that surrounds them, especially this thing about the Ali last name, but also how fans have been treated. You understand? So I'm trying to understand that relationship dynamic and who's been influenced here. Did Claressa influence Papoose? Did Papoose influence Claressa? Is it Demetrius Salita? Is it the fans? Is it the content creators? Who is it? Like who's influencing who? Who's to blame? And I understand sometimes there's social expectations that aren't fair, but there are others that are fair because of the position they're in. And it creates a lot of pressure because they're not perfect people. But all I'm saying, right, in my opinion, is what does this mean for their future? Now, let's talk about the image versus the reality. In today's boxing world, and again, Papoose is a boxing promoter. He may not like the fact that people are talking about him, but my man, you came out here and got involved in boxing. You came out here with this girl, Claressa Shields, who's damn near 20 years younger than you. You came out here and you got 95% of women watching you because they know you from that hip-hop world and the Remy Ma and the Black Love and how they felt you held her down while she was doing that bit. Like, all eyes were on you, man. It's not like eyes just been put on you. They've been on you forever. But they were championing you. They were hoisting you on their shoulders. Have people out here like, man, have women out here like, man, we need a man like Papoose. But I'm telling you, when it comes to what's going on now with this boxing involvement with Claressa, perception can become, and it has become, reality faster than the facts, because all we know is what y'all put out there. So if you feel we're wrong, well, give us the facts, because you went on the Vlad show and you really hurt yourself more than helped. You see, when the rapper Pap became publicly linked to Claressa Shields, damn near 20 years younger than him, that was the first mistake. Because women are out here looking at you, even some of us men. We're like, yo, what were you thinking? For real. 20 year, damn near 20-year difference. What can be the connection there? Physical? All right, no, we get it. As a man, I'm telling you, we get it. Y'all did pitch and woo. Okay, you pitch and woo, you pitch and woo. But I know for me, as a 50-year-old male, some 30-year-old chick out here, ain't no in the world she's gonna be able to handle this wisdom I got up here. I run circles around her. I run circles around anybody if I want to. And with Claressa Shields and Papoose, the people are talking. And I'm telling you what the people are saying, because I've been out here having these conversations for a long time. And I can weed through the people who are just out here complaining to complain. But I can pick up on the constructive criticism and those observations where they're like, hey, this right here, it's not going to work out. I can pick up on it. But those same people who are criticizing the boxing promoter Papoose and that relationship with Claressa Shields, those are the same people who saw a potential power dynamic in both of them. They saw an influence structure in both of them. They saw a business partnership forming in real time, and they were out here celebrating. Yes, this is what we want. This is what we need. They look so happy. This is so beautiful. So you see, at first it didn't carry major backlash. It didn't. But over time, Claressa's public tone became more aggressive, more erratic, more out of the ordinary. And her call-outs, disrespecting fans, disrespecting people with children, disrespecting other fighters, male and female, especially the disrespect and the call-out towards Laila Ali and disrespecting the Ali last name and having the audacity to mention her father's name, Muhammad Ali, may he rest in peace. All of these aggressive call-outs and disrespect towards the whole damn world, I would say the boxing world, became more persistent. And I'll be honest with you. I always say, the last 2.5 years ago, Claressa wasn't like this. She wasn't. Claressa was on top of the world. She was. Everybody was rooting for her. Boxing, combat sports, period. They knew she was something special. But as the behavior became more persistent and all the bull crap continued, fans began connecting the dots. They're like, yo, she wasn't like this. What happened a couple of years ago, right? Within the last 2 years, what happened? Now, I'm going to tell you, whether fair or not, the narrative started to form that this wasn't just organic behavior. This isn't just Flint, Michigan here. This is possibly influence strategy. And this is what happened. Once that narrative begins, it doesn't need proof to grow. It feeds off repetition. They started to suspect it's Papoose, his involvement with Claressa, him bringing the hip-hop hustle over here and telling her, look, listen to me, we could do it this way, because it's all about count the green. and thinking they can make money. And Claressa just followed along because there was some trust there and she showed loyalty to him. Now, this is just opinion, right? We're just having a conversation. I'm going off of my observation of what I've listened to thousands of people say. And I'm weeding through the bullshit. Let me tell you this. Papoose went on Vlad, and I happened to make time to watch, not all of it, most of it, right? A couple of things that jumped out at me without getting too deep into it, because I know y'all watch it, and y'all know I don't be on the internet like that. They like when I say that shit. He said he's never given her a ring. He said he doesn't live with her. He has his own resident or residences. The man came out here. He could tell he was trying to think about what he was saying, right? So a lot of people took it as, oh, that's the ultimate disrespect to Claressa. He doesn't want to be with her. He shut that down. He said, but he did say that it looks like could be having kids and could be getting married. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that the interview made him look really bad, especially when he came out and just boldly lied on Laila Ali. Now, this push for Claressa versus Laila Ali was always going to be controversial. You know what I mean? You're talking about a current champion like Claressa calling out a retired legend like Laila with a massive rumored financial angle attached. What they were trying to do was to bait Laila Ali into a fight so that they could benefit financially. This, I do believe Claressa, part of her, because I remember the bullshit started years ago where Claressa heard what she wanted to hear and something Laila Ali stated on The Breakfast Club. But that strong push that happened over like the last year, well, we all know what that's about. Especially after watching the Vlad interview. I was still giving Papoose some credit, the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, y'all just coming down too hard on him. You know what I'm saying? I get it. This is the internet. People are going to talk, create content. People are going to have opinions. I have fun with the content and everything, but I would still come out and draw the line in the sand and get serious and defend them. And ladies hated me for that shit. But I was like, nah, y'all ain't going to do it. I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't just going to beat the guy down. But I tell you what, when he went on the Vlad interview, and my boy said that Laila Ali said, you give me a certain amount of money, $15 million, then I would fight Claressa, and she turned it down, and how if they would have negotiated, they were willing to go up to $20 million. Like Papoose was like, I'm going to just give y'all this gym right here. Like they had the secret squirrel shit going on. First of all, let me tell you this, right? I already covered that in another video. But the whole world knows Laila Ali didn't agree to no goddamn $15 million and say, give me $15 million. But that doesn't matter because we already know what the truth is. What came out of that, and this is why he should have just been like, next question, or Vlad asked him something, I'd have been like, yo, man, it's a done deal. It doesn't matter. She didn't want to fight. It is what it is. I wouldn't have said anything. But he made the mistake to go out there and say what he said, which was lie on Laila Ali, which is what he did. He lied on her. I'm not making that shit up. He should have never said that. He should have just left it alone. But he wouldn't have said that Laila Ali said, give me $15 million. She never said that. And I'll fight Claressa. But what we took out of it was, he's the one who was here heavily involved in this strategy, which ended up being a misstep, to try to get Claressa and Laila to fight, and having Claressa go and just do these public call-outs and be very extreme in her call-outs, thinking that would somehow motivate Laila Ali to go out here and come and say, you disrespected me, you disrespected my family, let's settle it in the ring, and that Papoose would benefit financially, Claressa would make money, win records, Demetrius Salita, but ultimately where he can make some money. And I'm telling you, I am knocking nobody hustle. I think everybody should be out here trying to better themselves financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Once you're improving yourself, you're trying to elevate. I'm for that, but there's a way to go about it. So now you got the whole world looking at Papoose, a guy who doesn't want a lot of attention on him and negativity. Shit has just snowballed now. Because now you're watching, there were already videos about Claressa and Papoose, but more people are now zeroing in on him. So you got a target on him now. Now, I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying it's an observation. Because you see, when discussions of a large payday surfaced, and Papoose later spoke about being involved and pushing that concept, also about how he openly bragged about getting Claressa the $8 million deal. You see, on Vlad TV doing that, fans began to reframe the whole situation. And fans, it's people who've gone out here. I don't know how they have the time to do this shit, to try to figure out this $8 million. Is it real? Is it not real? Is she really making the money that they say they're making at these fights? Look, I let the other people talk about that. I don't know, but I will tell you that, I'm a common sense man. And when I look at the timing of some of these announcements, I got to wonder. Because, I have some hustle in me too. Trust me, man. Back in the day, before I understood how to be great, how to be professional, how to not think like that, there was a time where most of us had a little bit of hustle in us. And I watched the play and I'm like, yeah, that ain't nothing but a hustle. That's just that's my opinion. But hey, it could all be on the up and up. But from my observation, I'm like, they were looking for a path to profit. By any means necessary. Not many people see Claressa Shields as a fighter chasing greatness. They see a great fighter. We all know that she is. But they don't see a fighter chasing greatness. They're seeing a fighter who has someone involved in her life that has brought her down and has misguided her. Now, some would say, well, Hood, if he got involved and now she's making more money, then it's a win. Okay, I get it. But how much happiness and peace does she have now compared to before? Because I think fans are seeing all of this as a business move that have been overplayed, and they're just tired of all the talks about money. Everything is fucking money. And this is where perception shifted from ambition to what some fans interpret as overreach or forced promotion. About the image, about the brand, about how much money they're making. That's ridiculous. At this point, nobody want to hear about that no more. Show us, prove to us that you've elevated Claressa Shields' profile. Prove to us that she's making money hand over fist now. Prove to us that you truly are involved with Claressa Shields because you genuinely care about her, and 10 years from now, you're still going to be right here by her side, and she's going to have the mansion, she's going to have the yachts, she's going to have a fleet of vehicles, she's going to have everything that Mayweather has without the tax problems. Prove to us that it's going that direction. Because the perception has shifted from ambition to overreach or forced promotion. Now, this whole money narrative, this is why fans go there. Fans talk about it. One of the strongest narratives among fans is the idea that everything is driven by money. Count the green, cha-ching, ching. Now, whether that's true or exaggerated, I'm telling you, this is my own observation. I think that shit is old. I like Claressa when she just rock her sweatsuit. She's a fighter. I'm not saying she can't go out there and get dolled up like she's a lady. Get yourself nice, nice yourself up, man. Sweet yourself up. You know what I mean? That's beautiful. Do it. Feel good about yourself. But all this shit, minks and big beaver hats and the goddamn, what's that, Louis Vuitton and this and necklace and something on the wrist and all that. People are quick to say, oh, y'all out here talking about this because y'all can't buy this and that. My man or my girl, you don't know what people can do. But would head champion do that? No. I was young and dumb once. I know what it is to have money and buy a bunch of materialistic shit and shit that don't mean nothing. You know what feels good is to sit back, man, and watch your account grow. And that's what I don't know Claressa from shit. But if I had an opportunity to talk to Claressa Shields, like really one-on-one, away from the bullshit, like away from all the bullshit, I would never tell y'all if she ever hit me up and want to talk one-on-one. I would tell her, yo, I have no problem talking to you, but don't record shit we talk about, because I'm not going to record it. You know what I'm saying? Don't put it out, because I'm not going to put it out. But you want me to give you the real, raw, and uncut? Let's talk. And I would point some things out, and hopefully she knows it already. If not, I'm sure she could benefit from a conversation with me. Because she'd be like, yo, this motherfucker is nothing like what I thought with this guy here and this do the little videos. This motherfucker is nothing like what I thought. But, you know, I ain't trying to reach out to nothing because I got bigger fish to goddamn fry. But if she hit me up, I would. Because I'm watching her and I'm like, yeah, I don't like the Ali disrespect. Everybody knows that. The other shit, I'm just like, it's fucking annoying because the direction where I felt she could have been. But I just realized at this point she is what she is. And with that whole situation, I'm realizing she just got people around her. I just got to question the people she got around her. You know what I mean? That's why I say, come out and prove to everybody who's talking about y'all, right? Come and prove to everyone that the relationship is going a direction where people feel it should go, but they're saying they don't think it is going. Come out here. You put so much other shit out there. Put out the positive. But prove it. That's my thing. Because the fans, they're like, yo, everything's about money. Fans believe it. It don't matter if it's exaggerated, if it's a lie. It doesn't matter. The fans believe it. And in sport, belief shapes reputation. That's why the reputation of Papoose and Claressa is just not that good right now. So for those that are saying, yo, why do fans jump to that conclusion? Boxing already had a history of business first decisions, man. What has happened to make someone say, nah, with Papoose and Win Records, who just, you know, hocus pocus, big ass cloud of smoke and poof, a bunch of guys appeared dressed in all black with goddamn shades on like MC Ren from NWA. Straight out of Compton, straight out of wherever they from. Straight out of thin air. Where they come from? So if they can prove to me that this is a fighter first decision, business second, where it's all about the fighter, all about the fighter, not us. Cool, but fans have jumped to the conclusion that it's business first. Make sure that we getting our little slice of the pie, and it is what it is. And then this whole thing about these large rumored purses, that's created suspicion so much to the point that some people have gone out there and have done their research and come to debunk all that. Say, yo, this shit ain't true. Now, I haven't done it because, you know, I don't give a shit. It's interesting, but I'm not going to do no research on it. I'm a common sense man. I don't need to go do no research because I look at the timing of it. I'm like, that don't sound right. I come from a background, man, dealing with contracts, not in boxing, not in hip-hop, but with aerospace vehicles, large contracts, fiscal year, calendar year funding, you know what I mean? Where you budget shit, man, up for the next 3 years, 10 years, long year plans. I come from that world. I understand money. I understand budgeting. I understand contracts. I understand bullshit, too. So I can't prove nothing, but I just sit here and I got the hairy eyeball on it. Like, that seemed a little odd. You know what I mean? Because I've been in situations where some call like, I don't know about that. Because you telling me you can get me this part here for this aircraft, right? At, let's say, $250,000, right? But we consistently paid, you know, $750. And the range is $650 to $750, $500 to $750. Now you come out here, also can do $250. Who, what, when, where, why, how? So I'm putting the who, what, when, where, why, how on their dealings. But remember, I'm not from that world. But because of my background, I hear shit, I'm like, that don't sound right. Because of my experience. So I'm like, that don't sound right. That don't sound right. But this shit about the large rumored purses, it creates suspicion. And some people have time to go and look into it. Now, fans also jump into the conclusion that the aggressive promotion can feel unnatural. How about what happened there, that aggressive promotion and that weigh-in there between Franchon and Claressa? Nothing about that shit was natural. That whole promotion was unnatural. The whole thing. I feel, and this is my opinion, it just looked to me like they were going to have a fake promotion but real fight. And then for some reason, the fake promotion turned stupid when the shove happened. Because Franchon said Claressa was told to shove her. Claressa didn't want to shove her. And then we saw what spiraled out after that. a big shit show. Claressa has never been involved in a shit show, people. All of a sudden she's involved in a shit show. Who influenced that? Who has influenced Claressa to come out here and start acting this way? Now, I'm not saying she doesn't have some chippiness in her. She does. But the way that shit turned out, I'm telling you, Claressa didn't. That's not what she wanted. You can watch her body language. Claressa didn't want that. But she's got herself immersed in something where you can't go against the flow. So in my opinion, when I'm listening, when people are like, yo, man, we're just seeing these repeated pressure campaigns. Now you see the pressure campaign. It was on Laila. Laila blanked their asses. Now it's on putting the pressure on Dubois to go at Alicia. Been trying to put pressure on Shadesha Green to sit out the ring and wait for Claressa to say, all right, I'll fight you now. So Shadesha is not active, not making any money, and just wait. See, these pressure campaigns, this is becoming a pattern here, people. Because it's being interpreted at times as, for Claressa and her team, it's really about the bag, not the legacy, or about sitting back, being able to laugh at people and say, look, I'm okay, you're not okay. Right now, everybody's looking at Alicia Baumgartner, who probably will never, ever fight Claressa. They're looking at her like someone who's putting duck sauce on their fried rice. You know why that's happening? Because Claressa has started a pressure campaign to try to get fans to force her into a fight with Caroline Dubois, because Claressa feels Dubois will beat Baumgartner. Then Claressa can sit back and laugh at Baumgartner. But as a result, what's happened? Baumgartner has taken, her brand has taken some damage. Dubois' brand has taken damage. And Claressa hasn't been affected because her brand's already, by an opinion of most people, is already destroyed. None of those moves are going to get Claressa any closer to legacy. But who's behind that? Some people say, hey, it could be the influence and the strategy of her boxing promoters, in particular with Papoose. Because they're saying she wasn't doing this before. So all the attention shifts from her back over to him. Now, as far as brand damage, the brand damage there, that shit, I think is real. You know what I'm saying? Some say, no, it's just a perception. I don't know, man. Because I'm just listening to what people are saying. But when it comes to branding, especially in women's boxing, public image plays a huge role. You know, we've talked about it. I was talking about this shit long, long ago. The first video I talked about on Laila Ali, where Claressa had came out and, you know, when they did the, Laila dropped the first video, I just started dropping videos. I was the first one to start dropping videos. And I talked about all this shit. You go watch the first two videos. Everything that people are talking about, I was talking about those two videos. I talked about sponsorships. I talked about corporate partnerships. I talked about media opportunities. I talked about how doors will close and she won't even realize it, just off the strength of that Ali last name. But you fast forward from 9 months ago to where we are now. You tell me about Claressa's public image. What has happened with her public image? Claressa had an opportunity 9 months ago, after she, to me, was influenced with the wrong strategy, which was a misstep, right? To come and just say, I apologize. I just wanted to fight. Didn't mean any disrespect to Muhammad Ali. I didn't mean any disrespect to Laila. Laila, you know, I just wanted to fight. That's it. But she didn't do it. She still hasn't done it. And at this point, nobody wants her to do it. But let me tell you something. They better figure something out. Because I don't think it will ever happen. I'm not wishing bad on Claressa. I think with everything Clarissa's done, outside of all the negative shit, right? Sit the negative shit aside. Claressa deserves to be a gazillionaire. But when you got someone in your corner, or a group of people in your corner, from friends to business associates or whatever it is, if they have the mentality to go after low-hanging fruit and not shoot for the... Look, if you shoot for the stars, you land on the clouds. They're shooting up at a goddamn mango tree. Oh, that mango out there looks sweet. They're shooting for the mango tree and falling on the ground. They're there pursuing chunnet. They're there up in there looking for apple, orange, tangerine, and shit. They're up there shooting for the plum tree. Oh, that's a sweet looking fruit there. I'm going to pick that one right there. That's what they're shooting for. If I had influence on that, I'd be like, man, fuck that mango. Yeah, that shit's sweet and nice. But boom, let's shoot for the stars. That way you land on the clouds. She landing there on the ground, on the dirt, with all them rotten fruit just falling all over the ground, man, and all them bird and wild animals there yamming on that shit. That's what happened there. So I don't think there's anything that can happen right now when it comes to sponsors, corporate partnerships, and media opportunities, man. I don't think so. Should have been shooting for the stars. You shot for the goddamn sweet mango up there in the tree. And you missed it and you landed on the ground. Right there on top of all them rotten mangoes and shit. And now you got fans speculating, man. Claressa's image has become more polarizing. Her marketability, it may have been affected. Well, like I say, you know what? In my opinion, Claressa has been led down a path of destruction. And I ain't gonna lie, there's still a part of me, man. I gotta be real. There's still a part of me that have a soft spot in my heart for that girl. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta be honest with y'all. You know what I mean? Because that's how I'm wired. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a part of me that's like, there's got to be a way to get her to realize, this ain't it, man. But her marketability has been affected. I'm waiting to get some announcement. I thought the Zeus deal was all right. I said, well, it ain't. They ain't shoot for the stars and land on the clouds, but they got something there. They were able to. They ain't get the sweetest mango in the tree, but they were able to get one. Oh, that one there hanging there, boom, nice and ripe. Peel that shit, throw a little salt and garlic and green seasoning on there, a little pepper sauce, man. Make a little mango chow. So I'm like, okay, they got one. But what's going on with that? Where's that? Outside of that, where's the money? That's what I'm asking. Where is it? Where are the commercials? Where's the brand? Where's the clothing line? Well, we were joking the other night. It was part serious, parts jokes about Claressa should have sweatsuits. I talked about a butt bra. Other people I talked about chapstick. They talked about, some people say not makeup and stuff, but I'm like, no. She's into all this shit, wigs and different things. Why not? You telling me that Claressa, who's very popular, it doesn't matter if it's popular for whatever reason, the whole world talking about Claressa Shields. Why aren't they going that direction with her? I'm telling you, she got a lot of people who support her. There's money there. Why not take it that way? If Claressa, look, if there's 10 different things she tries out and one of those shits work out, she's up and away. She's out of here. All she needs is a chapstick. All she needs is a lipstick. All she needs is a wig line. All she needs is just one thing to work. Maybe even a perfume. She just needs one thing to work. One thing. And I'll be applauding them. That's the direction you should be taking her. Not out here risking the guapo. Not out here in the booth, spitting bars from the roof. I speak the truth. What happened to her speech, man? Who talks like that? Somebody, that's how they talk up top. I'm like, nah, don't try that. You can't pass that one by me. Well, where you from? I'm international, baby. Don't worry about where the fuck I'm from. But don't come trying to pass that shit over there. That's up top. Like, nah. We like the Claressa who just rocked the sweatsuit, the hush puppies, white socks, the simple girl, the little sweater, and the little pony. We like that. That's the Claressa I like. I didn't expect nothing different from her. I like her being natural and comfortable in her own skin and getting there and whipping ass. That's why she had so much admiration from people. But an important distinction is this is perception driven, not confirmed outcomes. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about fans and their speculation, because it's a perception. But it is what it is. But I'll tell you this, perception alone can influence how brands evaluate partnerships, how audiences respond to content. I'll tell you this, and I'll be real with you. 100% real with you. If, in fact, Claressa Shields hooked up with Papoose and Win Records, I don't care about the relationship, Papoose being married. Everyone knows Hood Champion don't care. But I understand how that affects sponsorships and branding deals. Let me tell you this. They're not going to ever work with Claressa Shields, ever, as long as she's with, and this is anybody, as long as you are dating a married man or dating a married woman. They're not going to do that. They're not going to have you be the face of their company. Basically an extension of them when you're out here and you're in a relationship with someone who's married. They're not going to do it. That ain't even personal, man. So if they're trying to figure it out, like I think I heard her say, I know I heard her say something along the lines of, is trying to figure out, her brand and sponsorships, and they're trying to figure that out. Well, hey, Hood Champ has already solved the goddamn case. You know what I mean? You're not going to get it. Never going to get it, never going to get it. You like In Vogue out here. You want to get that? You got to get out that relationship. Or, I ain't even going to say get married. Him divorce, you get married. I just think too much damage. You just need probably just a clean break from that whole thing and then rebrand. George Foreman did it. It wasn't in the same situation, but George Foreman rebranded. Mike Tyson rebranded. You know what I mean? A lot of people who rebrand. You can do it. Not going to be easy, though. But again, perception alone can influence how brands evaluate partnerships, how audiences respond to content. And that is what's going on. The brands aren't really messing with her, is my understanding. Because they're like, yo, why would we go into a partnership with these people? Plus, the word on the street is that, there's some people who aren't all that professional. A lot of rumors that float around here about people. Can't believe all that bullshit, but I'll tell you what. I'll just say this. I know that there are some people who aren't very professional. And until people learn how to do simple shit, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night, show up on time, be respectful. If you can't show up on time, let me tell you something, man. A person can't take your ass serious if you can't show up on time. That's one of the worst things you can do as an adult, especially in business, is not be on time. And you can say, that's because you come from your back, man. Yeah, of course. But that's just in life. You want someone to not be able to take you serious? Okay, you're doing drugs? Whatever. You beat your husband? Whatever. You beat your wife? Whatever. You beat your dog? Whatever. You beat your kids? That ain't good. You went out here and lost all your money, went bankrupt? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? You run up and down the street high and butt naked? Whatever. Show up late. Consistently. And you watch what happens. So you got to understand, man, and I ain't joking. Till you can be professional, man, brands are going to look and be like, yeah, we ain't trying to get involved in no partnership with this person. And that professional umbrella covers a lot of different areas. Now, as far as the audiences, how they respond to the content and the things you're putting out there, just listen to the internet. Every day somebody pops up. It's like, y'all know they have them pop-up tents. You go to an event, pop-up tent here. All these people, this shit just popping up to go to these different events. That's what the internet's become. A bunch of content creators are like pop-up tents to talk about this shit with Claressa and Papoose, man. But I'm going to tell you this, man. There's some shared responsibility. The blame shifted big time. At first, most of the criticism fell on Claressa Shields. She's the fighter, she's the face, she's the voice. But once Papoose publicly acknowledged involvement in the business ideas, promotion, the deal, fans starting to distribute that responsibility. And the conversation has become, and it's going to stay right here. This is a team strategy. Birds of a feather flock together. They both deserve each other. maybe in this, as far as who's influencing who, they say, yo, they brainstorm together. But we know they feel they know who the ringleader is. But they are questioning, is this shit mutual or guided? You know what I mean? And once fans start asking those questions, the narrative becomes more complex and more controversial. I'm going to say again, I don't think Papoose should have done that Vlad interview. You know, because the verdict was still out. You know what I mean? But he did that Vlad interview. He shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't. Because even when he's talking, I don't know, y'all notice his face was twitching? He was talking, y'all notice he was doing that? I was like, why is his face twitching? And I'm not making jokes. I noticed that, like, why is his face twitching? Now, I'm not a body language expert or nothing like that. But it just makes me wonder. Just shouldn't have done the interview. You know what I'm saying? Because the narratives have become more complex. Because he talked about narratives and narratives and narratives, false narratives. Well, I mean, they become more complex and more controversial. You know what I'm saying? And he got to blame himself for that. He should have never went on there. He should have never went on there. But I'll tell you what, it caused me to sit back and say, yo, what's the psychology behind following someone's lead? You know what I mean? Why would someone follow another person's strategy, even if it leads to backlash? Now, there are a lot of different explanations. I do think there's a trust and emotional bond that happens between promoter and fighter. You know, when you trust someone deeply, you're more likely to align with their vision. I think with the promoter and the fighter, and I'm talking about Papoose and Claressa, right? Because he's a promoter. I think Claressa may have seen some perceived expertise with Papoose coming from the hip-hop world and all the different positions that he says he's held. And I think some he still holds. I know he has experience in entertainment. I know he has experience in media. And I think that created some influence when it comes to Claressa Shields and the direction she chose to go as far as her aggression with promotion. I think Claressa wanted success. Claressa wanted money. Claressa wanted attention. So I think they shared some goals, but I believe there was a strategy that was created and Claressa followed. And they just kind of merged. Whatever her strategy was, there was a strategy he came up with, and the whole team, I think they just kind of merged, and it resulted in incremental escalation. And it hasn't slowed down. You see, at the moment, the actions don't feel extreme. They build gradually. Look at the point where they are now. If they wanted to build her profile bigger than ever, yo, job well done, you did. But look at the kind of profile you created. You know what I'm saying? Look at the kind of profile they created for Claressa Shields. So it's like, to me, it's like someone out here just, this big mountain of clay, right? Okay, you got this big ass mountain of clay, and to a lot of us, it's ugly as hell. You're going to sculpt that and give us something beautiful because we feel that it's beyond control. You know what I'm saying? That's what we feel. We feel it's beyond control because it's like you had this big mountain of clay and maybe you were going to come and sculpt it and make it nice, but you had all these boxing fans and all these other people who are observing who've been flying by and shitting on that mountain of clay. Don't make care how you sculpt it up. They're going to keep shitting on it and shitting on it and shitting on it. So now you got to trash it and figure out another way to start to build that profile because every day there's someone out here coming out here shitting on that mountain of clay that you maybe at this point was like, okay, we got it to where we want, large in size, let's sculpt it and make it nice. Well, you can't now. But you know, just because of all of those things when it comes to the psychology of following someone's lead, it doesn't automatically mean manipulation, but it explains how influence works in close relationships. And I think that's what you had there. I think you had and you still have a close relationship. Now, I don't know where they are now because I do find that he kind of, emphatically stated that he does not live with Claressa Shields. He emphatically stated that she doesn't have a ring. He was quick to say, but I have got a nice gift. Like, you know, he didn't have to add the little cleanup. He didn't have to put the sauce on it. No, you didn't get a ring. Done. Don't try to soften up the blow. No, you didn't get a ring. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get a ring, you didn't get a ring. It is what it is. But that fan backlash is real. And it has escalated and continues to escalate. Fans don't just watch. They judge. They analyze. They react emotionally. Once a negative narrative forms, it grows. It grows. It grows. You know what I'm saying? And you know how it grows? It grows through social media clips. It grows through social media and the content creators in the videos, commentary channels, repeated talking points. And it grows through the interviews that are being done by the individuals who are being spoken about. Boxing promoter Papoose and boxer Claressa Shields. So now you have new viewers entering the story. Pre-existing fans reinforcing their opinions. And suddenly, the situation feels bigger than it actually started. And is beyond your control. Like right now, Papoose's image is out there. Out there. I talked about it. I know who the guy is. I know him from music. Anytime that dude's name came up, we were like, yo, he's all right. We all said, yo, he's all right. Nobody messing with him lyrically. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got well, I'll put it this way. There's only a handful that could get in there and be comfortable rhyming alongside of him. But his image, man, shifting public perception. But, you know, he did it to himself, man. He did it to himself. From a public standpoint, some fans feel that Papoose's image has changed. I think it has too. Not necessarily because of one action, but because of accumulated perception, public statements, association with controversy. You know, even some of the videos floating out there between him and his ex, you know, yo, sometimes you just don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just don't say nothing. Take them blows and roll with it, man. Don't say nothing. I don't give a shit, man. If it's something negative that was said about me, I don't give a fuck. I don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? For what? Say nothing. I don't care. Now, if it has to be something extreme to get a reaction out of me. And trust me, ain't nothing really going on out here extreme enough to really make me come out here and get out of character. You know what I'm saying? Not in this fucking internet. Who cares? It's the fucking internet. But when you have this accumulated perception, that's not positive. Different public statements you're making that are interpreted as not positive. And you're associated with controversy and feel that you are, you know, somewhat behind a lot of it. Hey, man, it's just how people interpret events, not confirmed intent. You know, no matter what your intention is, it's just how people interpret shit. And that relationship pressure, let me tell you something, man. The public has an expectation. And I realize this talking to all the ladies. They're like, yo, they're quick to say, as a man. And at first I used to be like, man, how you going to speak for a man? Until I had 1,000 of them come and hit me with the same shit. I was like, all right, I'll shut up and listen. The ladies expect to be guided, to be led. You know what I'm saying? They expect for a man, if you really love me, you say you love me. You say you want to have children with me. You say I'm your best friend, the best thing ever happened to you. Right? This is what you saying to the world. You saying this to me. Or why you still married, man? That's why there's a public expectation. So people can say, like Claressa and Papoose, they can say, y'all all in my business, worry about your life. Why you worried about my business? Because you put it out there. And the public expects certain things to happen. That's why fans are out here and they're like, look, man, the relationship's public, it's controversial. So people are like, we're going to project and we're going to project expectations onto them because now we're asking, where's this relationship going? Is it serious? When the baby coming? When the divorce happening? Who moving in with who? Who on what? Who paying what? What's really going on? Claressa said Papoose pays this, he pays that. She ain't never paid this, she that. That's what she said on the Breakfast Club. And that's why people out here like, what? And talking, and they have a certain expectation because When you come out there and fans start asking all these questions, it creates pressure that didn't exist before, and it makes you uncomfortable. And in the public eye, every move gets analyzed. Every single move gets analyzed. One thing they be talking about is the age gap and the societal perception. Society often reacts strongly to relationships with noticeable age gaps. Yo, that age difference is crazy between the two of them. You know what I'm saying? And this is what a lot of the women are saying. They see one person is more experienced. The other one is still evolving. So as a result, it leads to narratives that I've heard on my channel that there's some influence from the experienced to the less experienced. There's a power imbalance from the experienced to the less experienced. And it's a matter of guidance versus control. Now, I'm not telling you this is fair. I'm not saying it's not fair. I'm just telling you from listening to the ladies talk for the last 8.5, 9 months, these perceptions shape how the public views both individuals. And that's it in a nutshell, man. It is a drama loop. And this situation keeps trending. And it's gonna keep trending, and it's never gonna stop. Let me point something out to y'all. Anyone who's like, oh, it's just time for this to end. People need to just leave it alone. How can you keep talking about these things? I'll tell you what. Let's say today, Hood Champion has the ability to hocus pocus abracadabra. Everything goes away. Everybody forgets about everything that's happened with Claressa and Papoose. Okay? And then tomorrow, right? Nobody remembers anything. They don't know Papoose. They don't know Claressa. And tomorrow, they come on the internet and they see a video where Papoose and Claressa, the conversation comes up about children again, about marriage again. They're all going to be like, oh, well, this is cool. You got this. Looks like a power couple here, and they're going to have married and have kids next year. 2027 hits. No marriage, no kids. You know what's going to happen? More videos. The drama loop's going to continue, man. This shit ain't never going to stop people. Statements are being made, fans are reacting, media's amplifying, new interpretations are forming on a daily basis, man. And then the cycle repeats, you know what I'm saying? It ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. I see the stuff people send me, I'm like, craziness. It's like, this shit is crazy to me. But anyway, this entire situation sits at the intersection of boxing, business, relationships, public perception. Some see strategy and ambition. And I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to see where they're going with this. They say they're making all this money. I'm like, cool, but you know, where? You know what I'm saying? I want to see Claressa fight outside of Detroit. How will it go? You know, I'm not saying take Claressa to Iowa, Minnesota, Indianapolis. Take Claressa to Atlanta. Have her fight in New York. Go to Vegas. She fought once this year. She has 2 more fights this year. And then a fight next whatever she's going to get to it. Because it sounds like next year she's not fighting. So she'll have 1 fight left. When's she going to do it? I don't know. But my thing is, move her around. Let's see if Claressa can really sell out like she does at home. They took Tank Davis. Tank Davis fought up in New York, fought out there in Vegas, fought in Atlanta. Tank Davis sells out everywhere he goes. You know, he got his own little shit going on right now, but they took Davis and moved him around. Of course, you got to understand the market, understand the demographics. But Tank can go to a lot of big cities and sell out and break records. Of course, the dance partner matters to a certain point, but I think Claressa should be able to do that if she is a superstar. which is what they claim to have built her into, and continuing to try to grow her profile. So we just got to wait and see. So again, some see strategy and ambition, others see missteps and overexposure. I kind of see a little bit of both. I kind of see the strategy. I don't agree with it. I see there's some ambition there, but I see a lot of missteps and overexposure. Claressa has just been overexposed. Overexposed, man. But the bottom line, this is a complex dynamic playing out in real time under a microscope. And who's the brains behind this shit? After watching them Vlad interviews, in my opinion, I just think Papoose brought the hip-hop hustle to boxing. And it's worked with other guys who came from the hip-hop world. But they didn't destroy their fighter's brand. That's the difference here. They didn't destroy their fighter's brand. You know what I mean? They weren't out here overexposing themselves or their fighters. They didn't bring drama from personal relationships. Like, nothing was going on. Anyway, man, I think they're underneath the microscope. I think this shit is interesting. And I think tomorrow will be something else that comes out that'll give us something to talk about. But in my opinion, after watching the Vlad interview with Papoose, I really believe that there's a lot of influence and stuff behind the way Claressa has been moving. Because when I looked 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, she always been a bit chippy, confident. You know what I'm saying? And we admired that. She's a fighter. You know what I'm saying? If you're someone who has spent time doing any kind of combat sport, you're gonna have a little swag about you. You know what I mean? But the way shit has gone for her lately, like the last year, this ain't it. This is not it. You're with a married man. Talk about having children with you, right? Talking about being with you, getting married, everything, but still married. I see the images, still wearing a ring. I now see what the women are saying. Before, I never pay attention to none of that shit because I really don't. I do my videos and I'm out. I look at shit on boxing. I don't be on here looking at all the drama. But when they send me this shit, Hood, we know you're not on that. Look at this. Why is he wearing this ring? I'm like, what does that matter? But then I hear what the women say. I'm like, I understand where you're coming from. I don't agree on everything, but I understand. I'm trying to even think, like I said, yo, how would that make me feel? Right? How would that make me feel if I'm with a woman who's separated, but still married to her husband, and she's still wearing her wedding ring? It's like, yo, you want to be with me, right? Why are you wearing that ring? I'll be honest with you, I had to question that shit. But again, in the Vlad interview, I didn't even pay that shit no attention. I don't even know if he had it on there. But the picture that was sent to me, maybe that's an old picture. But the women are like, nah, that shit ain't old. Look, I'll tell you this. If I was planning a marriage and having a child with somebody, I would have been, my divorce, everything be done. Should be over. Ain't no way in the world I'd be out here trying to talk these talks with somebody, man, and still be married. But remember, I got some hustle in me too. I ain't gonna get into all that. But what I'll say is, because of what a lot of us have in us, they say real recognize real. You sit back and watch these. I'm watching some of the movements. I'll just tell you this, yo, good luck to them, but I don't see that. I don't see that shit working out. Business promoter to fighter, marriage, kids, all that. I mean, that's a lot, man. It's just too much shit going on, man. Too many moving pieces. How's that gonna work? I'm being honest. How's that shit gonna work? You got people out here who are just two single people, neither one have children, and they can't make it work. You know what I mean? How y'all gonna come out here and make it work? You know what I'm saying? What makes them so special? All this stuff going on out here. All this stuff going on. And all of a sudden, it's supposed to just work out, man? Anyway, I think there have been missteps and overexposure, but at the same time, it's a complex dynamic playing out in real time under a microscope. Shit ain't easy. I'm not in their position. I would hope to never be in their position. I don't give a shit about money. I don't give a shit about nothing. I like having peace of mind. And hopefully they have peace of mind. If not, they can eventually find it. But I don't see it happening anytime soon as they continue to be in that relationship and him still be married and her talk about kids and the aggressive promotion approach. I just don't see it working out. It's just my 2 cents, man. Anyway, yo, I'm in the breeze.